Good afternoon, it's Robert and Julia Miller with the J. Patel Group and Rethink Real Estate with another exciting real estate update.
So
Episode
exciting.
number 100.
100. Yes.
At
the end, I'll put some clips in from some of our earlier videos. They're kind of funny.
Oh, okay. Some of the outtakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we started kind of around 2020 making masks.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of walked through how we were doing that because everyone was so scared of the virus at the time.
And there were no masks available at that time.
Yeah.
They rectified that relatively quickly, but there was a period of time where nobody had any masks. We were making them.
And we didn't have a whole lot going on because everything was shut down, so we thought, let's make some videos.
Yeah.
So here we are.
100 episodes later.
2 years later, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so. Ooh,
all right, here's to the next 100 episodes.
That's right. Let's make some more.
All right, you got a joke for us?
No, actually, I don't.
You forgot a joke?
I totally forgot a joke.
On the 100th episode. Wow. Epic failure.
Epic failure.
Oh, that's okay. Okay.
You lead us into laughter.
I hate it when I see an old person and then realize we went to high school together.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I just struggle with it so much. I'm 20. Don't I look 20? I feel 20.
Yeah.
My mind's 20.
We're still young.
No. Not the way it works.
You're as young as you feel, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Well, some days I don't feel so young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. A little bit of history for this week.
Okay.
2009, on November 13th, NASA announces significant water found on the moon.
Okay.
2006, this one blew my mind a little bit. Google acquires YouTube November 13th for, ready for this?
Yeah.
$1.65 million in stock.
Wow.
What is YouTube worth now?
Oh.
It's got to be worth $10 billion.
Yeah,
somewhere
I
in
think
there.
so. Yeah.
What a turn of profit!
So.
Holy
Yeah.
mackerel! All right, moving on. 1981, the FDA approves Merck's vaccine for hepatitis B. November 16th.
Okay.
1973, on November 17th, President Richard Nixon tells journalists, "I am not a crook." 1972, on November 14th, Oregon's Blue Ribbon Sports changes its name to Nike.
No way.
Yeah. Blue Ribbon Sports.
I did not realize that.
Yep.
Wow.
1869, the Suez Canal in Egypt opens November 17th.
That made shipping a lot easier, I think.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Didn't it?
And it was
all the way around.
pretext to the Panama Canal.
Right.
1851, Herman Melville's seminal novel Moby Dick is published November 14th.
1851. Wow.
Finally, 1777, the U.S. Congress adopts the Articles of Confederation, November 15th. Yeah. So that's a little history for this week. What's that?
And they were repealed when?
No, not repealed. All right. Kind of exciting news this week.
You got a lot of pink there. A lot of pink highlight.
Yeah. We got a really good inflation report, and it kind of just spanned it out into a number of different areas.
Good news.
Economic news.
We like good news.
Right. Inflation slowed in October. Yay. According to a federal report released last week, stocks surged and bond yields fell on the news. Actually, the stock market lost its mind for one year.
It did, yeah.
1,200 plus points. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Leading to a sharp downturn in mortgage rates. We're going to talk about that. We did see some improvement in mortgage rates. So a lot of good news today.
Yep.
The Consumer Price Index.
The CPI, that's the CPI.
You're a little slow today.
We didn't run through this.
rose just 7.7%, well below estimates. And analysts don't expect more dramatic rate dips as global uncertainty persists. So we're going to get pressure from other sectors, but still good news. Stocks surge, just talked about that. The Dow Industrial Average rose 1,000 points last week on reports, and that's for the week. The one day was over 1,200. Of cooling consumer prices, home builder stocks saw healthy increases despite shelter costs rising 0.8%, the largest monthly gain since 1990. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, okay.
Prices for medical care, used vehicles, and apparel declined.
Okay.
So, good time to go looking for a used car. You might get a break. Okay, ECB bonds.
The European Central Bank.
There you go.
Yeah.
Raised the amount of bonds that can lend against cash to 250 billion euros to ease a market squeeze. So again, we talked last week about how they're a little bit behind us, and now.
So basically, they're doing the same thing that the Fed has done here in the United States.
Yeah, but a couple years ago.
Well, yeah. We started a year and a half.
Yeah, well, as soon as the pandemic and real estate, things started. The economy was tanking, and unemployment was 8.5% and more. They started buying bonds.
Well, and home prices started rising too. Once they started seeing that the home prices start rising nationally, they knew that was time to pull back on buying those bonds.
Well, yeah,
and sell off.
Then they started selling them off.
Right.
Right, and they're talking about they'll be doing that too. So.
Right.
Some analysts expect the lack of government bonds to ease next year when the ECB starts selling off, to your point, its massive bond portfolio to mop up excess liquidity and fight runaway inflation. So they may be fighting this a little bit longer than we are, I hope. Well, I hope not.
But
I hope we continue on the path we're going.
Yeah, the faster globally economies recover, the better.
Yeah. Housing news, confidence craters, but I think this is a little delayed news because I think it's going to improve with this week's news. Rising mortgage rates, high home prices, and economic uncertainty have Americans feeling pessimistic about home buying. Just 16% think now is a good time to buy a home. According to Fannie Mae's survey, this is the lowest share since 2011. But I don't know if they do this survey every month, but if they do, I guarantee you next month's is going to be way higher.
Better.
Affordability abyss. Home affordability fell to another lowest point since the Great Recession in the third quarter of 2022. Just 42.2% of homes were affordable to families earning the median of $90,000.
Yeah.
So this is home affordability has been an issue in the country we're going on 5, 6, 7 years that we've been talking about it extensively. So it's a continuing problem. The median price dropped $10,000 to $380,000, but was offset by higher mortgage rates. So it's pretty much a wash. Home equity, which reached a record $17.6 trillion in May 2021, has fallen to $16.1 trillion since then. So obviously we've seen the rate of appreciation drop dramatically, and there you go.
Right.
It's costing the average borrower about $30,000. Yeah, but it's not lost money. It's just you're not accumulating appreciation
as quickly or as much. As quickly. Yeah.
Light at the end of the tunnel, or silver lining on the cloud, I guess you should say. However, borrowers who purchased homes before February 2020 have still gained a collective $5 trillion, or about $92,000 each.
Wow,
that's a lot of coin.
Yeah, that adds to your personal wealth.
Yeah, your future retirement and everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, regulatory news. Of course, they're going to talk about inflation. Measuring inflation despite falling home prices, the government measures imputed rent what homeowners would pay each month to rent their own home. So they don't necessarily, I found this very interesting. They don't necessarily use what a homeowner has to pay for his mortgage. They're looking more on the short term. They want to know right now. So that would be a renter because they don't have equity.
Right.
A homeowner can't.
They're saying if we
payment,
had to rent our own home, how much would we pay?
Right, exactly. So rather than actual home prices when calculating inflation, with housing one of the main factors driving inflation, using this measurement tends to make overall inflation higher.
Okay.
So maybe it's even a little bit lower than 7.7.
Okay.
So, premature pivot. Fed officials say it's too soon to talk about pivoting away from current policy tightening. Of course, as soon as...
Well, we're going to keep talking about it.
Well, as soon as we got some good news, everybody thought, does that mean they're going to stop raising the rate? And they're immediately saying, no, that's not the case.
Yeah.
And several said rates would likely need to go even higher than the 4.6% forecast just a few months ago. Even with the slowdown in the inflation rate, it remains well above the Fed's 2% target.
Yeah,
so
2% target.
I still think they're on track to increase again at next month's meeting in December.
Right.
The question is it going to be 0.75 or is it going to be 0.5?
Half.
And then they're going to do another one after the first of the year, early. January, I can't remember, do they meet January or February? One of those two.
Probably February, I would think, but who knows?
So I think they'll see one then too, and then I think they'll take a hard look and go, okay, have we taken enough action to get there? If we just let it keep going its course. So that's
Seems
my
like
prediction.
we should be there, but just my wishful thinking, my optimism.
That's
Optimism,
right.
yeah.
I like it.
All right, so we want to, before we hit the rates, I know you're eager to talk about rates and inventory. We had the question from Gary from last week that I wanted to hit. I've had time to discuss it with Robert, and we've found a way, I think, to address it. Basically, Gary's question was, so Julia, I see these ads on television and social media about different ways of selling your home and ways that I can make more money and not have to show my home and not have to sign a long agreement, because you realtors ask for a long agreement, right? So wanted to kind of get to those and get to some of the claims that I've heard on some of these commercials, because I took some time to kind of jot them down as well. And yeah, I did hear a better way to sell, and they have billions in sales in their past, so much experience is what they're alluding to. It's so convenient, so much more convenient than traditional home selling, and you'll have so much more control over the process when you move out, how much you sell for, and showings, things like that. And then, of course, a higher sales price is what I've also heard by some claims. So what say you?
Well, I probably have more questions than answers, but we've been doing real estate in the United States for a very, very long time. And it's a relatively straightforward process.
Right.
You find a buyer willing to pay a certain amount for a home. You have a seller who's willing to sell it for that certain amount. We come to agreement. We go through the legalities, the documentation, and everything involved, inspections, due diligence, and at the end, the property moves from one person to the other.
There you go.
That hasn't changed. That's the way that you buy and sell a home.
Right.
So, if there's a way, you're going to sell the home at what a buyer will pay.
Right.
What a buyer will pay is the market value on that home, unless there's some extenuating circumstances.
Usually location, size of yard.
Yeah, it's
in this
right next door
area.
to my grandma, and
Right.
I can't
Proximity.
get anywhere near close as this. I'm going to pay $10,000 more just to get this house. There are certain circumstances like that.
Right.
Maybe they've really over the top upgraded
Improved.
this home. It's just
And they
ridiculous.
love what you've done.
And they love
Love
what you've done. It's their dream home, and they've just got to have it.
Gotta have it.
Okay, so I see that, but that's for a personal reason. Nobody just, it's time to get a 4-bedroom instead of 3-bedroom because we have another child. They're not going to pay over market value unless they have to.
And to reflect back, months, even a year ago, there was a time when buyers were having to. So that's when the multiple offers were taking place and things like that. We're not talking about those circumstances.
Yeah, we're talking about what's going on right now.
Right.
We
Today's
understand there was an anomaly.
Yeah. It's an
The
anomaly in the market. And
anomaly in the market,
a time
housing
and a place. Yep.
losing their mind, insanity. But we're through that. It's gone.
So-
So we're back to a normal, traditional market. So I guess my first question regarding thousands more, if you use our service, who pays for that thousands more?
Right. So yeah, when you hear the claims of we'll sell your home for thousands more, or we can net you more money than a traditional sale, who's going to pay it?
It's a debit and credit transaction.
Right.
So I assume if the seller's getting more, the buyer is paying
Buyer's got
that.
to pay more, right? So why would they pay
I don't know
more
where
than
else
market
that
value?
money would come from. So
Well, and then your next question leads us into appraisal, because
exactly.
if I've offered to pay $15,000 more than what the market suggests I should, because I love it, it's right where I want to live, et cetera, then my lender has to agree to do that.
And they're not going to do that. The appraiser is going to come in at a market value, and
Yeah.
if you are paying more than the market value of the home, you've got to bring that in cash.
Yeah.
And
I
we
gotta-
go
I
back
gotta
to the
open up
person
my
wanting
pocketbook
to
and
buy next door to grandma.
right.
They'll bring the extra $10,000 in cash because the home is not going to appraise for thousands of dollars more than market value.
Right.
So that's just the way that is.
Okay. What's your
Um,
next question?
I don't know how you sell a home without showing it.
Well,
I know back in the day, I'm already calling it the
in
day.
the day, yeah.
Back in the old days.
A year ago. Let's just say
like,
a year.
Like January of
18
this
months
year.
ago. Well, yeah, even January this year.
Yeah, you're right, a year ago.
It's called a sight unseen offer.
Yeah,
And it happens,
Well, there was that. But there was also the 1 week open houses or one
day
day open houses.
a few hours, yeah.
And
It creates a fire sale. It creates
that was the nature of the
excitement
market that
and-
we were in.
Yeah.
You could literally, and we actually got into that to some degree, where we would, you put the home on in the coming soon status on Monday and let it kind of percolate some excitement.
Build some excitement.
And say we're going live on Friday and we're going to do an open house over the weekend.
So bring your
and
clients,
so-
bring, buyers come
And-
on. And
yeah.
there was no showings per
but
se.
those days are gone.
Pretty
We
much.
are
Well-
back to a traditional.
And let me answer that, as well as I went through and I kind of pulled some of these companies that are saying, sell your home without even showing it. And they're listed in the MLS.
How many?
And there are showing, it was over 500.
Okay.
Yeah. Which 500 for 20,000. What are we at? Yeah, just over 20,000. So, and they're showing instructions. It
Okay.
tells me how to show their home.
And
So-
the home's been on the market for
And
35,
a lot
45
of them had
days.
some aging in there. I didn't
You're not
look to
gonna-
see how long they were aging, but they're aging just like every other listing.
Yeah, you're not going to
So-
sell the home if you don't show it, especially if it's been on the market for 45 days. So
Now, with that, I will say we do definitely work with our sellers if they work from home and they can't have any interruption until after 4 o'clock. On the weekends, they'll show all day long. Or if they have sleeping babies, things like this.
absolutely.
We can definitely block out those time frames and say no showings during this time frame, but we want to make it as easy to be shown as possible. That way,
Right. Every opportunity that there is to show the home, you want to do that.
Yeah.
So,
What's your next question?
that was pretty much it that I had.
Okay.
Bottom line, I think during the absolute frenzy, this type of strategy worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to have difficulty in this.
Yeah, I think we're already starting to see some of these things that have popped up over the last 2 years kind of fizzle out.
Mm-hmm.
There are some really good programs that are out there. We can walk you through the process, and they allow you to bring your own realtor. I feel like not bringing your own realtor to buy or sell a home is like using LegalZoom if somebody sues you. Honestly, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you get an attorney? Not that I'm equivalating myself to an attorney, but we do this for a living. We do this, we're practiced realtors. We've been in the business, as Robert said, for years, over a decade. And so we have some knowledge, and we offer it to you. The other thing was lengthy commitment. Sometimes we do ask for a longer commitment. We do offer the flexibility, and we'll work with you on that to customize and tailor fit your needs. So there are options.
Yeah, the bottom line, traditionally it's 6 months, but if, we can sit down and negotiate that if we're looking at a really, really well-maintained, highly appointed, priced well home that we know is not going to be sitting on the market,
Right.
then absolutely we're able to make that commitment. Because, keep in mind, we're spending a lot of money up front in photography, flyers,
Yes.
a lot of labor,
So
time,
a lot of marketing, a lot of
initial marketing, getting things going.
administration on the back end that takes manpower hours.
So we want a
So-
legitimate, fair amount of time to market the home
Right.
to get it sold. But
I feel like 3 months is bare minimum in this market, especially.
right now, especially
4
we're in the
months,
holidays,
probably.
we've got a very slow
yeah.
market right now anyway. 3 months would probably be.
Yeah, that would be bare
We've got to
bones,
have that
yeah.
much time to.
Yeah.
So just
All
our
right.
opinion and just our rule of thumb.
Hopefully that
Your real
helps.
estate agent may have a different opinion. So.
Hopefully that helps answer your question, Gary. If not, let me know. You have my phone number. Or anyone else, if you have input to this subject, please let us know. We'd love to answer the question. We
Yeah.
can do it online or offline if you prefer.
We'd like to hear what you think about it too.
Moving on to rates.
All right, Valley inventory dropped again, not very much, basically flat. We're at 20,324. You know what? I'm sorry. I was supposed to do rates. I jumped down.
That's okay.
I apologize. Okay, rates. 30-year dropped from 7.198 down to 6.732. So again, we talked earlier about that inflation rate dropping, and it really had a major impact
Nice.
on rates. So that'll be interesting to see if that's a trend that continues every time that rate continues to go down, or inflation rate continues to go down. Will mortgage rates continue to go
Let's
down?
hope.
Or
Let's hope.
the Fed rate?
Yeah.
Not the Fed rate, the mortgage rates.
Right.
Okay, 15-year, 6.354, we're down to 6.033. And the VA dropped from 6.851 down to 6.528. So
Those are pretty good drops.
Pretty good drops,
Yeah.
that's right. So
We will take it.
we'll watch that closely as always. Okay, inventory. Valley-wide, we did drop just 150. So we're at 20,324.
Okay.
Peoria also dropped. They're under 700 now. They're at 684. And Surprise also dropped slightly. They're down to 919.
All right. I'm not going to get too worried about that.
What's that?
The drop.
Yeah.
That's
I think
typical.
Well, actually, yes, because of the holiday, we're going to see
time of the year.
that rate drop. So, got to take that number with a grain of salt.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Trilogy at Vistancia, 46 homes available. 495,000 is the most affordable. 1,440,000 is the most expensive.
That's a new one.
Yeah, that's a new one. Haven't taken a gander at that one yet. Vistancia Village has 50 homes available. 352,000 is the most affordable. 1,198,000 tops the list.
Okay.
Blackstone Country Club is unchanged. They're at 13 homes available. 595,000 the most affordable. 2,790,000 the most expensive. Portobello ticked up slightly. They're at 35. 375,000 the most affordable. 929,900 the most expensive. Sun City Grand added a second $1 million home. They have two now listed. They're at 115 homes. They have a lot of inventory.
Wow.
298,000 is the most affordable. 1,055,000 is the most expensive. Sun City West has 207 homes available.
Woo.
209,000 the most affordable. 869,000 the most expensive. And finally, Westbrook Village has 40 homes available. 285,000 the most affordable, and 560,000 still tops the list.
Okay.
As far as activity, Trilogy at Vistancia sold in the last 30 days. We're still sitting at 7. Trilogy at Vistancia under contract, there's 13. So we've seen a little bit of a tick up there. Vistancia Village sold in the last 30 days. They're at 12. 2 of those are new construction. We have to take that into account when we're looking at the village.
Yeah, I like that you pulled that out. Okay.
Vistancia Village under contract. This is really interesting. There's 13 under contract, but 7 of them are new construction. So you can see where people are kind of leaning.
Well, just make sure you realize that even on new construction, you can bring your own representation as in a realtor.
For no cost. It's absolutely free.
Yeah.
So take advantage of that free service.
So next week I want to look at answering some of the questions about water here in Arizona.
Okay.
Got a little background on it I wanted to share. I knew we'd be covering this other information, so I didn't bring it today. But I've got some information to share on water in Arizona.
Okay. That's our report, our 100th edition.
Episode, yeah.
Nice. All right, everybody have a
Thanks for
blessed
watching.
week, and we will see you again next week. Take care. Good afternoon. It's Robert and Julia Miller with the J. Patel Group and Rethink Real Estate with another exciting real estate update. It's a little bit light this week. We don't have so much to cover. So
Yeah. It's okay.
Last week was really long, I felt. So
Yeah,
this
we
will
did
be
get a little long.
considerably. Good afternoon. It's Robert and Julia Miller with the J. Patel Group and Rethink Real Estate with another exciting real estate update. And
Riveting.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New
2021.
Year. It's already late January, and this is our first real estate update.
Yes, we have been remiss. Good riddance 2020
Good
in some
riddance.
regards. Remember what episode number?
I write it down every week, so I know. Yeah.
Not surprising, rents are also up, increasing 5.4% from last May.
And we always hate when they start comparing to last year, because last year was an anomaly.
Yeah, the numbers, we're going to
But-
really struggle to have good comparison numbers because
For at least a year.
yeah, 2020 numbers are so whacked out, so it's
Yeah.
hard to use them as a year-to-year comparison. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Starting us out. Isn't this fun? Change of roles.
oh,
Not really.
are we on the straight and narrow here?
I think so.
Okay.
Looks pretty good. Stools propped up back up, that's fine.
Can you cut this part out?
Yeah, you yawning? Yeah. All right, we're really ready this time.
Okay.
You, you have to say,
You look really
good
nice.
afternoon.
I was gonna say you look really nice.
I really like this color on you.
Mm.
It's a nice, calming color.
Neutral.
I feel calm just being in your presence.